Hello, friends. Welcome for joining with us. What is this all about?
Yeah, that's a good question, isn't it? What is this all about? It's kind of a
This.
deeper question.
Oh,
What is this all about anyway?
yeah. Life, the universe, and everything. And I think that's really the big question that all of us come to at some point in our lives, asking that question, what is all this? But also, by default, all of us, I think, are seeking out what you and I might term a relationship with the world.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think we are all in a relationship with the world. Even if we aren't in a relationship with a lot of other human beings,
Yeah.
there are a lot of things that we are in relationship with. And of course, number one is in relationship with ourself. So you can't really escape yourself. Wherever you go, there you are. You can't get away, which can be scary sometimes, at least for me. I can't get away from myself.
Yeah. I think this is about living, about how we have this basic relationship with life. And there's so many answers to that, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we can think of, we've been instilled with the idea that money is what's going to give us security in life and happiness in life. And so then our relationship becomes about figuring out here's life and here's us, and then how money mediates that that experience, that relationship.
This is something we could get into deeper
Mm.
down the road, but it's more than just money. It's a sense of owing someone something and a sense of debt, because sometimes in our lives, it can be beyond money. It can be, especially with relationships where we are close with someone, a sense of, well, I did this for you. So, kind of, next time, maybe you should do that for me. And that's interesting to be in that kind of relationship.
Kind of a debt-based
Yeah,
relationship.
yeah, definitely. And so it's more than just money. I would call it the money debt pathway, which is pushed very strongly, especially in United States of America culture and a lot of times in first world countries. That is what success and security are equated with, is unfortunately the money debt cycle.
Yeah.
But then that's interesting because to me, I think we're here today to talk about living life, about our spirituality, about Divine Mother. That's going to come up. And what's interesting about the money debt cycle that we get pushed since we're little and has been here for a long time is that you can start to see the world in that way. And then I think we long to get out of that. We long to be valued or seen just for who we are and not what we owe someone or what we've given someone or our job or our success. And I think that's really important and why people go seeking.
I love that Rebecca has gone into this a little bit because every different way that we could seek out a relationship with the world has profound consequences on what our life feels like, what our life unfolds as. It could be in money. We could also think, well, it's really about relationships with other people. And so we spend the bulk of our energy in these connections with other people around us. Some people, they are seeking something that explains the world. So they take to science, let's say, as a way to negotiate that relationship with the world. Or Christianity or Zen Buddhism,
Religion.
all these different pathways. Yeah, many philosophies, all these different ways to have a relationship with life. But that's the essential part. The type of relationship, the nature of the relationship that we have with the world, with life, is going to essentially become our life. And we can see this all around us. So if I, if we go back to money, if my I have a very debt-based kind of outlook on life in the world.
Well, I mean, it's the pathway.
Yeah.
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 So there's the, as you said, the science pathway and the religion pathway, and there's also the current cultural pathway. So that's the money, debt, get ahead, consumerism,
Hmm.
individual, it's about me.
Yeah.
Keep going.
That's, let me move this a little bit. We're going to
Yeah.
have a little technical difficulty here.
Okay. Is
There
that
we
still
go.
going to block it from?
I think it will.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see.
I just feel as though it's coming right from my back.
Yeah, hopefully we'll block our setup that's right here in front of us. So with money, if that is my viewpoint in the world, then everything I do with people, I heard from somebody the other day who considers even smiles or helping somebody out with something small to be a form of currency. And so for this person, that is the structure, the lens through which life is experienced. And I know that for me, we've tried a lot of different lenses or relationships, and some feel much better than others. And I'm going to wager to say that life happens differently. Even things that we would say are outside of our control happen differently based on this relationship that we have with the world.
I 100% agree. There's a quote that's coming to my mind by Norman Vincent Peale along the lines of change your thoughts and you change your world. And nothing could be truer. How we interpret things, our perception about what something means. You might have heard people get into an argument before and they're arguing over semantics, one single word, because they so strongly, one person believes it means this and the other person believes it means this, and they can't get over that and try to hear what's actually behind that. And we do that with our concepts. We do that with our thought of who we are. And it's so, oh, there's so much. I feel like I could just talk for days. We crystallize things, and this isn't our fault. This is how we're taught. And in some ways, that's what happens. It's a multiplicitous world that begins to have different parts of it that come into being or out of being. And so we want to name things and we want to crystallize that. And we want to say, that's Kenton. This is what I know about Kenton. And that's how he is. And that's who he is. And then when he acts differently from that, well, you're not acting like Kenton, but he's Kenton. Now, how can he be anything but Kenton?
Yeah.
But it comes from those thoughts crystallizing. And so many of those thoughts are truly unexamined, and they come from other things. And we haven't ever been told that we can look at them, or we haven't had time or taken time to look at them. And so I think part of our journey and part of what this, all of this, whatever this is about asking, what do I think? Noticing, awareness. How am I crystallizing something? Or what are the beliefs that I'm putting onto that? And then asking, do I want to keep that? Does that serve me? Does that make me feel great in the world? And I think that's going to be a big theme through all of this, is paying attention and in a way becoming responsible for what we think, for what we feel. And then our actions come from those things. So I really believe that how we interpret and perceive the world and the relationships that we have, my relationship with myself, with others, with what I think this is all about, really, really, really have a huge impact on how we experience the world.
For us, I'm going to say our life is a little magical. Maybe a
It's a lot
lot
magical.
magical. We've experimented with non-dualism. We explored Zen for a long time. You grew up Christian. I experimented with earth spiritualities a lot. But what we've discovered here is so amazing. And it really does feel magical. I'm not going to say that we don't experience challenges in our life, but even challenges can become a source of can become beautiful experiences.
Yeah.
And some background, we have two children, two lovely daughters who are just as in love with life as we are, and who also love Divine Mother. And we've we've done all kinds of things in our life. So we have this huge, broad experience from working in fast food joints to being professional uh, Middle Eastern dancer, and I was a drummer, and all through these experiences, you're trying to find a way, and this is it for us, and that's why we want to share it, because it is so profoundly different and so profoundly richer than anything we've experienced before out of, again, a pretty vast pool of experience.
I want to jump in and say that this is a personal journey for each of us, and one that we share with each other, and one that we share with our family, and we want to share it with you. But this pathway for us, you could say, oh, it's just another pathway, and in some ways it is another pathway, but it is a very inclusive pathway, especially in terms of curiosity and inquisitiveness about the world and about yourself, and in terms of acting from your heart and from what you know to be right and true, and from trying to be your best self. So anything that you're participating in currently, if you're interested in what we're talking about, that gives you a good feeling and satisfies you on that heart level, on that gut level. I'm not talking about, oh, I just had a bag of Doritos and that was so tasty. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about life when you have to ask yourself questions and maybe you don't know the answers and you have to listen. And when you are really wanting to be your best for yourself, for your family, for all your relationships, for the whole world, this pathway is very inclusive. So you might be a member of a different kind of religion. You might be a science is the way to go. You might be, hey, I'm just spiritual. You might be atheist. Religion doesn't matter. What you believe politically, what you believe, in a way, all the surface, the top beliefs aren't the thing that we're talking about. We're talking about something really deep that when you access it and when you investigate it and when you ask to open up and embrace it, that you see changes and you feel good. And so I'm just wanting to put out there that this isn't filled with this is the kind of clothes that you're going to wear and this kind of food you're going to eat and this kind of music you're going to listen to. You are having this massively awesome adventure where you get to choose all those things. But the essence is, I don't want to sound goofy, but the essence is awareness, and the essence is essentially love and trying to stretch yourself into something that you feel really good about and really proud about, and that fills you up.
Mm, beautifully said. Yeah, I think that's what does make it different in my experience is so many pathways were exclusionary and had sets of rules to follow. And this is more, I guess, I can almost put it as if you're meeting some people, you're meeting somebody, and you want to have this connection and this relationship with them. And one person says, well, okay, we can have a relationship, but let me lay down the ground rules. Here's how it has to look. And this other person that says, welcome in, see how this feels for you. If this feels right, I'm so excited to be connected with you. And if it doesn't, that's okay. And the Buddha, I think, spoke about this with his teachings.
Yeah.
Try it.
Yeah. Don't take it from me.
Yeah.
Don't do it just because I say. Try it out for yourself and see if what I'm saying and what I'm talking about resonates with you, if it makes a difference. I just want to jump in quick and say that what I like about this way is that it is not fear-based. And so much of life, of the media, of everything that we've been trained into is about fear. And I'm not saying, hey, follow this way and you won't feel fear. You will feel fear. In fact, probably some pretty intense fear if you encounter beliefs that you haven't ever looked at. However, there is no pressure. There is no hellfire and damnation. There is only you examining yourself and asking yourself, how can I become richer, deeper, more compassionate, more observant, more open-minded, more loving? And I just really appreciate that in this world where we're taught to look after ourselves, to be careful, to guard things, to not trust, that there is a way, a magical way that says, hey, go take a risk, go take a leap of faith, if that's what you want to call it, and try love.
I think you and I always felt this calling to us in some ways. It was part of our searching through life to find the thing. And we've always felt a connection with kind of the female aspect of divinity. But at some point, we started asking Divine Mother to come into our lives. I think we've first probably discovered the concept. We probably had it intuitively, but discovered it in a firmer way through Yogananda's book.
Autobiography of a Yogi.
Yeah.
Yeah, although I want to say that because you and I have both been nature lovers our whole life, that the very first place for me is in Mother Earth. And so we connected so strongly over nature and her power, her majesty, and all of the gifts and the beauty and the ways that she asks you to confront things and question and still be your best self. And so for me, the first place was Mother Earth. But then to crystallize that more, I think, was Autobiography of a Yogi and talking about Divine Mother. And that's sort of partially the bhakti faith a little bit, but also the divine feminine. Although I really struggle to think of things in terms of divine feminine or divine masculine. I picture the yin-yang symbol, and to me, everything has a little bit of everything else in it. So it's very difficult for me to want to crystallize that is masculine, that is feminine. Yet, having come from Christianity, I felt very drawn to, when I think of Divine Mother, in fact, we can just kind of say what, that's what we're going to say, saying what is this Divine Mother you're talking about? Who is that? We've tried a lot of times to just, there's Zen Buddhism, there's other different ways that are just open, the Tao, to just the world and the unfolding and the multiplicity of things. But I struggled to feel really connected to that. And so I think we both at some point said, what about, as in Hinduism, a particular distillation, an intentional crystallization, if you will, into someone that has more of a face like ours, that we could then more easily enter into that relationship. And so for me, Divine Mother was it. And when I think of her, it's definitely unconditional mother love and a softness and a kindness that for me was different from some of the Christianity ways that I've experienced. And I'm not going to talk about Christianity because it's so huge and it's so individual.
Yes.
There's thousands of different versions of that. But for me personally, the mother aspect really felt welcoming. And someday I can go into more, why that is for me personally. But it will probably resonate with some of you out there who might be recovering perfectionists and too hard on yourself and things like that. Someday we can chat about that. But that was really really sweet for me to find that. Go
Yeah,
ahead, you talk
I
now a
think
little.
that's it, is putting a face onto things. And science tries to do that with the theories,
Mm,
right? Eventually maybe the toe, the theory of everything. So
mm.
there's there's this vastness that we can't understand, and we humans often aren't satisfied with just the vastness. The non-dual paths kind of lead to that, and that is just the thing for some people. But when we put a face onto it, then we can start to have a different sort of connection and relationship. And so that's what happened with Divine Mother. We started reaching out, we started asking for connection, and connection started flooding into our lives, I
Yeah,
would
yeah, I
say.
was going to say we reached out and it felt very strongly, and we've had cool experiences where very strongly she was reaching back. Or, I'm going to say she, I'm going to use that, but I'm really talking about the everything that I've put a face onto. So understand when I say she, I'm not, it's going to be so hard to talk. Talking is challenging because there's so much more to it. But in order to speak, I need to use some words. So I'm going to use Divine Mother. I'm going to use she. And when we reached out, she reached back.
I think the if we kind of look at some of the Hindu ways of looking at the world,
Mm.
we have that the Brahman, the ultimate, is kind of like the universe that we're trying to understand through the theory of everything or religions. But they speak of Divine Mother as being the creationary force, the one that is making the leaves, is becoming all this world of form. And and it's very important to understand that when we talk about Divine Mother, she can become something for you. And it may not be. This is, I think, what you're getting at, the
Right.
same thing that she is for us. And she can shift and change over time. Again, in the Hindu way of looking at things, Divine Mother has so many forms.
Mm-hmm.
She becomes so many goddesses and aspects. And so it's not just, oh, I'm choosing Divine Mother. You might feel drawn to Kuan Yin. You might feel drawn to Kali, any other aspect of Divine Mother. But for us, we've just been having this connection with Divine Mother and in a very oh, loving aspect of her. So should we describe a little bit of
Yeah, sure.
what we have experienced through her?
Yeah, definitely.
So you spoke about love being
Mm.
this essence, and I think that is is central and foremost. And when we talk about this kind of love, we're talking about an unconditional love. With we humans, love tends to be very conditional. Even with many of the religions that talk about a deity being loving, there's still conditions put onto that. But imagine being loved completely as you are. You are welcomed into Divine Mother's embrace, no matter what you are. You can swear at her, you can just whatever you want. You can be a good person, a bad person. There's no setup here that makes her love you, and there's no way she can hate you. There's no way she can want to harm you or do terrible things to you. And this this is unfolded in our life where good things just keep pouring into our life. As we said, Divine Mother, we want to have this deeper connection with you. She's poured in all this incredible goodness and also the magic of when challenges come, they're seen in a different light.
Mm.
So it's a dual pouring into our lives of goodness, both through what many people think of as goodness, wonderful food and opportunities and people, but also goodness in that idea of changing our perspective. She is softly welcoming. Don't feel forced or put upon by Divine Mother, I don't think.
No, but she's also a mother in the sense that I think she asks. If you ask to grow, she asks you to grow. And not, again, not unkindly, but that doesn't mean that she won't ask you to stretch, to expand. And I think that that's what we want, is to ever grow into better people, into our best selves. And so that's what we've asked for in this relationship. Help us to be our best selves. And so, but yet I know that if I'm given a challenge, that the first thing, the easiest thing, which I forget this a lot, I have to be reminded, is simply to turn to her and say, what is it you want me to get from this? What am I supposed to be learning? And very often, if I approach Divine Mother and ask, and I listen, it's that be still and know that I am God, I will see a way. And it could be hard for me, but I also will know there's this feeling in your gut and your heart of, oh, that's the thing that feels right. Oh man, shoot. I don't know, I'm going to have to go talk to that person I haven't talked to for 4 years and say, oh, I want to clear the air between us, or whatever it might be. Uh, it's amazing though, because it doesn't feel as though you are alone, and it doesn't feel as though these challenges that come are vindictive in any way. And I think there have been times where I have said, Divine Mother, I cannot do this. I cannot do it anymore. I am so weak. I am falling apart. I am being sucked into this black hole, and I can't. And those are the times when I ask for softness and I ask for love, and I am met with that. And yet if there's a lesson for me, it's not like it goes away. It just comes at another time when I am not in such a low place. And the feeling of that is magnificent. And the other thing that I think we really have come to love and enjoy is understanding that for us, Divine Mother manifests in all things. And so we can start to see Divine Mother, and we ask to be able to see her in all the situations we experience, in the people that we meet, even people that we might find challenging. She's there. And so it's a wonderful feeling to try to step back a little bit from my personal judgment and ask, what is bigger here in this situation?
I think that's been such a beautiful part of this path, is that ultimately, in the end, we tangibly experience and feel that we are Divine Mother. She's becoming everything around us. She's the trees and the crickets that are singing, and she is our thoughts, and she is us, and we are her. But that's a long journey there. She's inviting us on a journey to explore that. And the beginning of that is falling into love. And I mean falling into love with the world, but also falling into love as the primary lens and aspect through which we view life. Because the beautiful thing about love is if you go deep enough into love, there's this person and there's you. Love is a selflessness that starts to dissolve you until you almost become that other person. And as we fall in love with the world and eventually with Divine Mother, that's what happens. We go from us looking at this face that we've imagined as Divine Mother to feeling so much love for the world, for Divine Mother, for ourselves, that the self starts to sort of dissolve and mesh into love, which is what Divine Mother is.
So what does this mean for you? That's the question. And I think we're just posing an invitation
to a journey, right?
Yeah, an adventure, an exploration, and to bring that curiosity, to bring that inquisitiveness, to bring some willingness, to bring some courage, and to bring some softness and kindness, and to bring self-love and love for others and love for whatever moves through things, and to come with us as we continue talking, investigating, and to know that this is all unfolding right now. There aren't really any answers except for the ones that you realize for yourself, and your answers might be different than our answers, but the messages of Divine Mother are repetitive and clear and always filled with love and always work their way out for the best of everyone involved. And so I think we're longing for other people to dialogue with about this. Sometimes people ask, well, we're all going to die anyway. What's the point? Maybe I don't believe in an afterlife. Well, you don't have to believe in an afterlife, and you don't have to live from a place of fear about worrying about where you're going to go. Live it now. If this is all you get, then why not make a choice to do the best you can do, to feel the most awesome that you can feel, and to know there's things you can take with you when you go, and there's things you can't. And in general, all the things that money buys, aside from perhaps some cool experiences that you share with other people, experiences with other people or places, not things, you can't really take those with, but you can take with moments that you experience, beauty, or time in nature, or moments with family or friends. There's these things that you can take with, making someone smile, doing something nice for somebody else, or loving yourself for a moment, saying, you know what, I put myself down for too long. I'm having a bath and a candle, and I'm going to say, way to go for being here. If there's no point, then why not pick something that does good for you and for everybody else? I guess that's my little rant on that subject is why not choose something that's yummy then? I'm all for a yummy life.
And this is yummy.
Yeah.
It is a journey. And you alluded to this journey has challenges, but they are not, it's very important, they're not vindictive.
Yeah.
Some other paths we've been on, it feels like life, the deity you've chosen, whatever it is, comes in and, well, try this out. And sometimes we can rationalize, oh, this is a growing experience, but it feels so different with Divine Mother. She brings us challenges, but it's invitational rather than vindictive. And this happens because as we journey into love, we want to grow. We want to become more loving people. So you can imagine, as I start to fall into love with the world, then I start to encounter judgment. In that person that I've always looked at with judging eyes, I find myself dissatisfied with being judgmental towards them. And I find that I want to discover what it means to love that person in an unconditional way. And that takes us into some really challenging territory. But we're taken there because we feel this natural urge inside of us. We're invited into it. I don't feel like since we've started this, there's been any forced learning.
No.
It's invitational.
There's been really big challenges, really tough stuff. For us personally, it's important not to necessarily judge what you're experiencing and hold it up to somebody else, but to realize if this is hard for you, that's your hard spot. And someone else's hard spot may be different, but you're both growing. And I think what's interesting is it took me a long time to realize that I don't have to wait for the other shoe to drop. I think growing up in maybe a more traditional Christianity, good things always come with a price. And I've felt that my whole life, that it's that debt cycle. I need to pay for good stuff. I either need to have a really bad experience or I need to work really hard for it. And I am slowly Divine Mother is being patient with me and going, no, look, how about this? How about this that I've given you? How about this? And after a while, there's so many that I have to be blind to say, okay, she's going to be nice to me just so that at some point the other shoe can drop. And it hasn't. But I also know that she's there if it's difficult. And so there is so much beauty, and there is also a place for growth, and it's growth that we've asked for.
It's probably important to understand if you feel like you want to embark on this adventure, is that you will start to want to grow. You will start to want to fall in love with the world. And that's where those invitational challenges will come from. But I'm going to say, in general, they're really fun.
Well,
you know?
Okay, so it's the change your thoughts and change your world.
Yeah.
We have definitely been practicing looking at things from a different perspective. And you don't have to do it yourself. That's the beauty of being with Divine Mother, is ask for help. Say, Divine Mother, I can't make up my mind. I don't know what to do, or I don't know how to do this. Help me. And so often things will come, unless, and a lot of times it'll be an insight, but sometimes it'll be something that someone says. And there is help, there is guidance. She wants us to succeed and to love life. It's writing a beautiful story, and there might be challenges, but you want your character that you're reading about, if it's a good story, you want them to succeed, you want them to get through. And that's the way Divine Mother is as well. And so we have to remember that it isn't about us figuring things out and about us orchestrating and organizing. She is guiding the ship, and we are to enjoy the ride. And sometimes that's going to be some rapids, and sometimes it's going to be mooring someplace to go swimming amongst the coral reefs. The important thing is to cultivate your mindset. We'll talk about that in future messages, but cultivating your mindset, having an awareness, having complete and utter transparency and self-honesty, and having a gratitude practice. Because if you can't recognize the gifts and the blessings that you're being given, you're going to go in circles for a long time. So noticing the gifts, noticing the blessings, and being grateful. And then if you are able, and sharing them, because that just multiplies the joy.
So we will be bringing these messages to you, and each one, we essentially are asking Divine Mother, we've asked her if we can be her voice, if she can speak through us. And so we will sit down and try to be very receptive and speak from our hearts and from that voice when we deliver these messages. And we'll bring them regularly, and they'll cover everything that we've talked about here and much, much more. And how do we fall in love with the world? And how do we deal with judgment when we feel it? And
yeah, lots and lots and lots of things.
Yeah, I shouldn't even begin to say the list, because the list would go on and on and on.
I just wanted to share one thing that's personal for me, for us.
Yeah.
And that is that talking about this took us a long time to decide to share this. And it is requiring us just to be vulnerable and exposed. And I'm certain that there will probably be people like, whatever, and that's okay. My hope is that our messages that we're being given to share and our explorations can touch, just you. And if it's just you, that's it. That's enough. That's perfect. So we have been practicing and questioning for a long time, and so this is our own leap of faith that we're being called to do now. And so don't feel shy if that's where you are too, and feel free to share with us or not. But we're all much more alike than we are different. That's one big thing I've learned from Divine Mother. And so I just had to share that. Just called to say, that this was a big thing for me.
Yeah, I'm glad you did, because you may or may not know that we have a moderately sized YouTube channel, and when we, not this one, but
No, not
We
this
Wild
one. At least
University,
not yet. Who knows?
and
Maybe we'll look back. And anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
no. And what can happen there is you can start to form a self-concept, and you realize that other people start to form concepts about you. And we've hinted at our spirituality here and there, but this is kind of a coming out for us, and
Mm-hmm.
it is vulnerable. And but we're being called to it. We can't hold it back anymore
It's
because,
it's who we are.
yeah,
It's how we encounter the world, and it is where the magic comes from. And I think we feel that it would be no longer right to not share it anymore. So anyway, it's just an encouragement to share with others, because you never know that that person that you're talking to might feel exactly the same way as you.
yeah.
So I feel that we shouldn't hold back from each other in this world and in life.
Anything else you want to share? No?
I'm grateful if you spent the time with us here. Really special. I wish in some ways that I could see you out there, because there is something really special about community and supporting one another in physical space. But I feel as though I can feel you. And so I'm grateful. I'm really grateful.
We're sending you so much love, and hope that you join us next time.